It's time we talked about a serious problem in Monster Hunter Wilds. The problem? A lack of the Magalas. There's so many monsters in so little time. So much space in this game. It's honestly a big crime. Looking at all of these environments and all these cool places, we have a serious lack of seriously cool faces. For Wilds, bring back the old monsters who've been exiled, the ones who'd kill you as they'd flaunt their gorgeousness. Like two peas in a pod, a baby full of darkness and a glorious golden god. Once you catch the frenzy, you'll have to act quick, hit the fast, or you might start to feel real sick. So sick like your blood is boiling you alive from the inside. But if you overcome, instead your damage will amplify. So without further ado, and plenty of time to savor it, let's talk about two monsters who are surely fan favorites. Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, I know, look, I am still spoiler-free on pretty much everything to do with Monster Hunter Wilds, only really watching the initial reveal trailer and hearing the sounds of Josh playing the beta itself. Oh, and the character creator, if you count that too, but I'm blind as a Gore Magala. I'm excited as all hell. I can't stop thinking about the game, and the best way for me to sort of tap into that energy and let it out before I burst is to talk about some monsters that I think would be particularly fun to have return in Monster Hunter Wilds, either in the base cast of the game or even possibly in title updates after the fact. And today I want to talk about two monsters that are undeniably heavily connected to each other, and ones that technically have returned in the 5th generation, despite first showing up in the 4th generation games, but while they were in Sunbreak, they weren't in Monster Hunter World, and these are Gore and Shagaru Magala, the Frenzy Dragons. These creatures are particularly unique and fun, and especially Gore himself is one of the most popular monsters that's ever existed, and in my humble opinion, is also Batman. I'm on to you, you caped crusader. Take the mask off. I know you're the one in there. The point I sort of sidetracked myself from there is that they returned in the portable entry to the 5th generation of the series. They were awesome to fight there, but there is undeniably a very, very different pacing to that game, a different feeling and visual style between the portable games and especially the newer console and PC release focused ones. Of course, with my knowledge of Monster Hunter World and my limited knowledge of Wilds especially, just the detail in the character creator itself makes it look like any actual creatures or monsters in the game will be absolutely phenomenal looking. And the lighting effects in the reveal trailer as well, if they are any indication of actual elemental or status effect visuals, the frenzy and especially the bright light laser beam attacks from Shagaru 2, and especially when he goes full glow in the dark mode looking all gorgeous, I just would love to see monsters that are this much of a visual spectacle in the most detailed, most advanced graphical version of the Monster Hunter series that has ever existed, as simple a thought as that is. Aside from that, then they are just, of course, very fun fights, both of them. They have a very unique niche, especially with the wing arm Elder Dragon skeleton. Yes, Gore Magala is technically unclassified, not an Elder Dragon, but the skeleton itself is otherwise used exclusively by Elder Dragons, including, of course, Shagaru Magala too. Outside of just the unique physicality of the fight and those monsters, there's also the frenzy virus itself, which adds quite an interesting element to any Monster Hunter game that is added to not just a bonus unique status or debuff in general, but specifically one with unique gameplay implications, giving you actual player agency over what the status ends up doing. If you do enough damage, if you hit enough times within the timer, you gain a bunch of bonus affinities, so bonus crit chance, but if you fail to do so before the timer expires, you will lose your natural health recovery, so you don't get red health after being hit anymore, and you also get a debuff that just makes you take more damage from all frenzy inflicting attacks too while it's active. This gets especially interesting, in my opinion, when you get to the point of armor sets that apply frenzy to yourself and make it more of a positive to overcome, and actually move this unique status, which normally is only located in a couple of fights, to instead be a part of your actual long-term playstyle if you do choose to build around it, which adds more fun builds for players to actually get to play around with as well. As for if there are any reasons in particular that I have that these monsters could come back specifically in Wilds, there's nothing ridiculously clear, but I do just feel like the lightning storm and all the lighting effects that come along with this in the trailer, being as immersive and deep as they are, is just sort of begging and pleading for any monsters that have glowing effects or can create mists like Frenzy Virus, because it would just look so good within the game's graphics. So again, one of my major points is just that I would love to see these two monsters in 6th generation, just to see how visually improved they could still be even at this stage. Outside of this, with the whole group of bear monsters in the reveal trailer walking around together, seemingly being large monsters, and this pointing towards the existence of large monster groups or packs, rather than only small monsters traveling in herds. And while obviously I wouldn't expect an Elder Dragon to travel in a pack or a herd, I could totally see something like a Gore Magala and a Shagaru Magala that are always attached to each other, just the two of them, the Shagaru protecting the Gore, who's like his angsty teenage child. Not to mention that I've only talked about the main duo here, but there's also chaotic Gore Magala, and unfortunately I do think him being in Sunbreak does make his return a little bit less likely because of how close these games are, but specifically with the increase in technology and the more like ecological focus that Wilds has over Rise and Sunbreak, there's just an image that I am not able to get out of my head. One of them putting a hunt in Wilds that is just like, it starts as you're hunting a Gore Magala. Maybe when you find them, there's a pack of 3 or 4 Gore Magala together, then as you start to fight them, one of them starts shedding and molting, and due to the combat happening, it sort of pauses there for a while. It gets stuck in the middle of the process. Maybe you get some of the moves from the chaotic Gore Magala moveset to actually represent this, make it stronger and more interesting while it's happening, and then after a few more minutes of fighting, it makes the final transition into Shagaru Magala itself. There's just something that I can't shake, that it would just be a really cool quest experience to fight a monster like this that has a second species achieved in this way, and the idea that we could have it happen in the middle of a hunt as a big, like, giant, fun story moment, I think that'd be really cool. Like the old concept that I always like to talk about of fighting like a rusted Kushala Daora who then molts and enters his squishy white Kushala phase that we only get to see in an ecology trailer one time. And then that version of Kushala could be like super fast and squishy and stuff like that, but I still think that the idea of a monster changing forms always makes for a really cool fight, but I like it especially as a way of incorporating chaotic Gore Magala into the game without having it be a like full-on separate monster slot, instead making it a sort of state, a phase, a transition stage between the two, actively changing during the hunt. And obviously you couldn't have this be like every Gore Magala hunt in the game. I'm more picturing this as something like an equivalent of the scripted Raging Brachydios hunt from the DLC of Iceborne. I feel like that would be a really awesome way to sort of mimic that sort of style of hunt and do it in a progressing Gore to Shagaru way, getting the moveset actually evolving with the monster along the whole time. I think that'd be really cool. Outside of that, I just like the idea of pack hunting even a pair of Gore Magalas together, and the idea of how they would even work together, especially surrounding the frenzy virus as a concept. Hell, if you want my big crazy suggestion, as per usual of course, it would be let Gore fight with frenzy virus monsters. Bring back apex monsters as a concept, but make it more dark and terrifying like a parasite that's controlling them. Have Gore Magala fight in a pack, but not a pack of other Magalas, instead a random pack of various monsters, all of which are frenzied, weaker versions of themselves. They're slow, they've got lower damage, they have significantly lower health pools, of course, but essentially they are under his control and fighting alongside him. It's probably a few steps too far on that one, but it's just intriguing enough to me. Like, imagine the atmosphere of a purple cloud of mist just sort of overtaking a zone, like the storm rolling over the actual zone in the actual trailer, and you see what feels like a zombie horde following around the necromancer that is Gore Magala himself. Okay, now it's definitely left reality a little bit. The point is that I'm a massive fan of these monsters. I think they are unique in ways that make them great at any time that they return in another Monster Hunter game, and they are very capable of being improved or changed to fit with whatever unique mechanics Wilds would have as well. Maybe even to like apply frenzy to like your mount monster, and through some interaction you can make the mounts monster overcome the frenzy for some sort of mounted speed bonus or something like that. I don't know. I just think it's a really fun and malleable mechanic attached to some absolutely gorgeous monsters that deserve to be shown some real graphical improvements by being brought into a game like Monster Hunter Wilds. That's pretty much it for today then, everyone. Another moment where I feel the need to shoot hype out of my exhaust pipe in the shape of gushing about a couple of monsters that I would love to see return in another new Monster Hunter game. I hope you've enjoyed this and let me know your own thoughts on any of it down in the comments section below. Though as usual with Wilds videos, I'll not be reading the comments myself, so feel free to even say nice things, knowing that you'll never have to suffer the embarrassment of me actually reading them. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.